Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Lindsay Knox joins us. She's Vice President of Government Affairs and Advocacy for McDonald Carano, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers Goes to Washington is brought to you by Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. NV Energy. NV Energy proudly serves Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. And University Medical Center of Southern Nevada, offering the highest level of care in Nevada.
Big R is Northern Nevada's #1 Golden Fire wood pellet supplier. More heat, less ash, 100% natural, and no additives. And there's only one place that stocks this many wood pellets, and that's Big R in Sparks, Winnemucca, Fallon, Fernley, and Lovelock. A river of wood pellets at Big R.
It's the $200,000 Cars and Cash giveaways at Carson Valley Inn. Cash and prize drawings Thursdays and Saturdays. Plus, win a 2023 Ford F-150 or we'll pay you cash instead. Don't miss your chance to play and win. Cars and Cash at the Carson Valley Inn.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're always pleased to welcome back to the program Lindsay Knox. She is Vice President of Government Affairs and Advocacy for McDonald Carano. Pleasure to have you back.
Thanks, Sam.
I've said this on the program before, but I love the story, which is when I go on an airline, and they say, what would you like for dinner? And I say chicken. And they say, what's your second choice? And I say, I don't have a second choice. I want the chicken. They say, well, you have to have a second choice. Ranked choice voting. It just drives me crazy. It's like it's hard enough to get people to go to the polls now. And now we're going to give them a buffet of people to vote for.
I have mixed feelings about it. And I have mixed feelings because I do believe that with the polarization that both parties, the direction they're going, you're getting so many more nonpartisans. And by not having an open primary, you are losing votes. And you're getting these extreme people on each side winning those primaries, and look what we're left with. So yes, I think there is a better option than ranked choice, but I think people were almost desperate to find something, and this is unfortunately what we have.
Okay, but I'm with you on open primaries. That would be so much better, where the independents can vote, everybody can vote. I've said before that it would be nice if we got rid of primaries altogether, and that way we'd find out where people really stand from the beginning, and then we wouldn't, because you look at the presidential primary on the Republican side, and people are taking so many extreme positions, and yet you know that after the primary, they will move towards the middle. But what are we left with?
We are left with crazy. I hate to say that. But in certain seats, and not all of them, that is what you are left with, because they do go to that extreme because of our primaries. If they didn't, yes, you're right, we would see a much more moderate person come through because they have to win everybody over. But again, with our current system, we are left with some very interesting people that are coming out, and we're missing out on good people being in office.
And is it just because of that, or is it because of the hell that they're going to go through if they do run, where they're called every name possible, their families are abused. I mean, it's just, why would anybody want to run for office?
Well, I think let's look at last cycle, and you had in Secretary of State's race, you had Jesse Ha. In the AG's race, you had Tisha Black. You had moderate, good Republicans, and the extreme came out. But you had two business people, one in the North, one in the South, that have families, own businesses, and they ran. So they still exist, but it's getting them out of those primaries that is the difficult part.
With the amount of money that is in the system, it's developed a whole multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean, if you would take this out, the economy would suffer. And I don't see it going in another direction until perhaps when digital takes over from broadcast television, that the prices will drop dramatically, and that will, it won't be as an effective way of reaching a mass market, but it will lower the cost because the cost of digital is so much less than broadcast.
I completely agree. I think what we lobbyists, businesses spend and all the national money that comes in, it is absolutely ridiculous what we see. The digital market, that's what I see because I don't watch TV. But I think you are years out, elections out from that happening because you still have a demographic, my parents, that still watch TV and have cable, so that will continue. But it will shift, and I mean, my question would be, does it become more expensive? Once that the broadcasting side goes away, does it become more expensive on the digital because there's a need?
Well, eventually it will, but I think that what's interesting about the digital side is it is so difficult to get the information of where things actually run. You know, if you buy a broadcast TV or radio schedule, you get time and date and program that everything ran in. You try doing that with a digital campaign. You know, you're running maybe thousands of ads, and I say, just give me 1 hour where I can look and see where this all placed. You can't get that information.
Will it change eventually, do you think?
Oh yes, of course. Okay. But I mean, you know, how far down the road is, if you look at cable in the late 70s, early 80s, in Reno, for example, we had 12 channels of cable, okay, and one of them was free HBO. And then now it's exploded into 1,000 channels, and the same for satellite. Now it's millions of places, and so, you know, you still need a bulk audience. Right now, the bulk audience exists in local news, which I think for the most part people use as company because there isn't really that much information. Maybe the weather, although you can still get it on your phone. But I mean, most of the traditional things you can get on your phone or your PC. But if the you-know-what hits the fan locally, then you want to go to your local TV station and find out what happened. And then live sports, especially for men, that is the place where you're going to find men. And that's why the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, to buy an ad in Las Vegas for just the Las Vegas market, $250,000 for a political spot. One spot.
One spot. Now, actually, the sports piece does intrigue me because I don't watch much TV, but I want to watch the Giants when they win.
Right.
So, yes, no, I get that. And it is a market that, again, I've gotten away from, but there are times that I do utilize it.
So, you know, that part continues to go up, but we're feeding that market by the amount of money that we raise. And what's also interesting is the number of businesses that are coming in that specialize not in top-tier candidates, but in second-tier and third-tier candidates, where it almost seems to me that they're just taking the money.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the other pieces is that, you know, you ask for early money. Legislators want early money, all these people do, and then you get these other people that file, and you're like, okay, well, I have to sit down and I have to meet with these people, because there is a chance
Right.
they're going to get through.
Right.
So for the groups that do work on those campaigns for the second and third tier candidates, it makes our job more frustrating because we know the public knows who the right person is. But then you get the voters, people have short-term memories, and this is what we're left with, unfortunately. So it adds a very complex issue to how I do business, how the state operates when it comes to our elected officials. So it is always a good time to see who's going to come out.
Well, you know, also what's fascinating is because of term limits, the turnover at the legislature is stunning. And I look at the lists of committees at the beginning of each session, and I'm worried about the number of names I don't recognize. I've got to imagine that that's got to be a major deal for you, because you have to build brand new relationships with so many more people, when it used to be that if you knew Joe Dini and Bill Raggio, you were halfway there.
It is. Our job, you know, most people don't want to look at lobbyists this way, but we are educators in a sense.
Yes,
that is
absolutely.
My job, is to educate our elected officials, whether that is at the local, you know, legislative or executive branch level. That is my job. So what, you know, at least McDonald Carano, what we focus on is we do try and meet with every single candidate to get a feel for who they are, so they know who we are. But we've gotten to the point where there's so many new people, there's so many candidates running in these races, that we do have to be a little picky. But we do try and build those relationships as early as possible and give them a piece of paper that says, here's who we represent and here's our top issues. We're who you call for these issues. And it's actually made a huge difference, because we have such a short time frame between when the election is to when session starts, that it gives us a little headway for that individual.
Well, and the other thing is, with a citizen legislature, they need you. They need the LCB, and they need you, and people like you, because if you're any good as a lobbyist, you have to give legislators both sides of the issues. And you present your issue, but you also have to give them the other side, so that they can then make a balanced argument and trust you.
Absolutely. And I think I fully support our citizen legislature, but it does make it more difficult with the turnover and with all of the different, like, super meaty issues. Like last session, we had medical malpractice. That is decades old of an issue.
Yes.
And the institutional knowledge that we lost with term limits on that issue is something that, what I remember is the commercials. I just graduated from high school. I remembered the black and white commercials, but I have no institutional knowledge on that. So I'm trying to gain all of this and then give it to legislators. And there are some that it depends on who you are as a lobbyist, if they will even meet with you.
Right.
And that is the very difficult part, is that open door policy that used to exist doesn't always exist anymore. So you rely heavily on your friends on both sides to try and get those things done.
Let's take a break and let's come back and talk about growth, because the state is going through this phenomenal area of growth, and I think it's fantastic, because I'm a pro-growth person. I want to get your take. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
It's the $200,000 Cars and Cash giveaways at Carson Valley Inn. Cash and prize drawings Thursdays and Saturdays. Plus, win a 2023 Ford F-150, or we'll pay you cash instead. Don't miss your chance to play and win. Cars and Cash at the Carson Valley Inn.
Remember 2010 in northern Nevada? 13 to 14% unemployment, thousands of homes in foreclosure, Nevada's casinos closing. Families in the Reno-Sparks area were hurting. Many were losing everything. Then Story County launched a game changer for our region, a public-private industrial partnership, streamlined permitting, slashed bureaucracy, attracting Fortune 500 companies that made Nevada their home. Story County generated a river of cash to area communities. Economic studies by the state and others for the Gigafactory consistently show positive economic benefits for our region. $4 billion in local wages, $17 billion in consumer spending and economic activity, over $100 million in taxes to Washoe, Story, Reno, Sparks, and Nevada, just for the Gigafactory alone. Story County, improving northern Nevada one industry at a time.
Fantastic cocktails and delicious food.
It's a good time to eat.
500 hot slots, plus electronic table games.
It's a good time to play.
Player rewards and big-time jackpots.
It's a good time to win.
Ooh, your good time's a train wreck.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Lindsay Knox. She is Vice President of Government Affairs and Advocacy for McDonald Carano. As I mentioned before the break, the growth is phenomenal. The Tahoe Reno Industrial Center just announced 2,200 acre sale that looks like it's going to be data storage centers. The good news about that is that it's a huge investment of money and a huge investment in technology, which will have to be replaced every 4 or 5 years, which means huge sales tax, but not a lot of employees once the place is opened. Your thoughts on this?
I'm about smart growth. Being from Nevada, I've seen it, for the past 39 years, and I've seen how it's grown. I've lived in Reno for over 20, and it used to take me 45 minutes to get back to Gardnerville. It takes me a lot longer now. So I believe in smart growth. Representing, the home builders, I understand the importance of making sure that we have the necessary infrastructure for the people moving in. When it comes to data centers, you're right. The construction's great because there's so many people on those sites as it's being built. And then you do only have, a very low number of jobs once it is complete, but it's revenue. And how does Nevada survive? Off of new taxes, off of the way our tax structure is. So as long as we do it smart and we look at the resources, the land or lack thereof, I do fully support the growth that we have in this community, north and south, in the rural communities. 2
new stadiums in Las Vegas. If the A's come, and then there's the second stadium that's going to be where the Brightline train station is going to be, it just keeps going. We stood out, we didn't have tickets, but we stood outside the Sphere, which is a phenomenal building. And then going to Bellagio, we drove past all the grandstands for Formula One, and it's like, seriously, they're putting these in for the race. They will take them all down after the race.
And then they'll put them back when they come back again.
Yeah, for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. I think Las Vegas Strip, the capital of the entertainment world. Now we see something else in the new direction, and that's sports, and we're doing pretty well. So with the A's coming in, I hope it is successful. I hope the A's can rebrand themselves to be a winning team. The Raiders aren't doing too bad this season. The Aces obviously are doing phenomenal.
But you know what? It doesn't even matter, does it? Because all the other things that they can put in those stadiums means that they will be able to put on huge concerts that they didn't necessarily have space for, more entertainment. I mean, it's, I once asked when they were putting in the baseball stadium in Reno, we've just not had a really good track record of supporting teams here. And I was told by the lobbyist at the time, it doesn't matter because they will put so many other things on in there that it will be successful no matter what. And it's maintained that.
It has. And I think when you have a baseball stadium that is going to be an open top, it's a different discussion because it is so hot in Vegas that sitting out in a concert in the middle of summer is not going to be very enjoyable.
Right.
So obviously it will have to be very seasonal, but it will bring people in. And that is what continues to drive our economy and allow Nevada to keep moving forward in the positive way that we are.
My wife and I were having an interesting discussion about Bellagio, which is that when it first opened, it had to do $2 million a day to be successful. Mirage was $1 million a day. Bellagio was $2 million a day. I wonder how much it's doing a day now. Because 25 years later.
Yeah, 25 years. I mean, look at the costs that have increased over those years. I mean, $15, $20 million a day.
Isn't that stunning? And when it opened, it was $3 million a day. It's just amazing. Okay, we're going to come back and talk about some mining things after this time out.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you. But we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Safety is the #1 priority for the trucking industry. Over $7 billion a year is spent on technology like this electronic eye that will apply the brakes automatically. But the most important factor for safety is the truck driver. These hardworking men and women who safely move over 70% of our nation's freight and 94% of Nevada's. We thank you because trucks move America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Lindsay Knox. She is Vice President of Government Affairs and Advocacy, if I can say it, for McDonald Carano. I wanted to talk to you about lithium. Obviously, is huge in the state of Nevada and for the country, and now we have another group that is saying that there's this tiny frog that's a 1/4 inch long that is going to be destroyed if the lithium mine goes ahead at Thacker Pass. It seems like we have this battle between certain environmental groups and man, that it doesn't matter, whether it benefits man or not, which it appears that if we're going to save the planet, we have to do things like lithium mining. Where do you see this?
Oh, I think the courts will decide. And then, of course, if this little frog is really that big of an issue and it does not have an additional habitat, Thacker Patch is going to have a problem. I'm a full supporter of our lithium mines and, quite frankly, all of our mining. So I hope that there can be a resolution, because as we move forward, we need lithium, and Nevada is where it's at. And we need to be able to produce that for our state, for our country, globally. And it's going to bring in jobs, it's going to bring in housing, and more opportunities in our tax structure to keep Nevada moving forward. So while I am a full supporter of keeping our environment safe, clean, and keeping the little frog safe and happy in its environment, I also believe that we have a responsibility to our citizens, to this country, to get the resources that it needs.
You look at the millions the Southern Nevada Water Authority has spent on the spotted dace, that at one point they were down to 30 fish, and then they got a whole lot more, and then a bunch of hooligans rampaged through the stream and destroyed most of the, it's millions and millions of dollars we're spending. And it seems like whatever the project is in rural Nevada, somebody's going to come out and say, well, we found this plant, we found this.
Look at what we did with sage grouse, desert tortoise, and what we've had to do to mitigate those issues to make sure that they have a habitat. And that's what's going to happen. How do you create a habitat for this little frog at Thacker Patch to allow for mining, but keep, the conservation groups happy as well? They will not be happy because you're mining, but you're creating that habitat, and I think that is what the mining groups will do to make sure that we can get the lithium we need.
And that's where we have to leave it. Always a pleasure to see you.
You too, Sam.
Thank you so much for doing this, as
Thank you.
always. And we'll be right back.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
7 at 7 is a newscast built for your smartphone. It's a 7-minute newscast available every weekday at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. at lvrj.com. We don't waste your time, and we give you the day's top stories.
We at the RJ have noticed some similarities between us and a certain BTS character, RJ.
Plus the latest in Las Vegas business, weather, health, and entertainment news. 7 at 7 streaming now on your smartphone.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Event Center sits at the heart of the Las Vegas Strip. 2 floors of meeting and event space are ideal for groups and conventions. Stay in one of 200 luxurious rooms and suites. Brand your event throughout the property. Flexible event spaces make for easy planning and personalization. Take over the entire hotel with a full buyout option.
Nevada Newsmakers Goes to Washington is brought to you by Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. NV Energy. NV Energy proudly serves Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. And University Medical Center of Southern Nevada, offering the highest level of care in Nevada.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers. You can always watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day by downloading the audio or video podcast, watching us on YouTube, or just go to the website, NevadaNewsmakers.com. We'll see you on the next broadcast.